Hey mamas, Corinne here, and welcome back to my modern village, where we talk about anything and everything that has to do with you and your littles. So something we talk about for adults a lot, but maybe not our kids as much, is our social batteries and how certain social interactions and gatherings can be very draining on us, and kind of how that affects, and how that affects us. So for anyone that's seen some of my other videos, you may know that my older son had a birthday coming up. So he did just turn 3, and we did have a birthday party for him. But I did experience something kind of unusual, and really for the first time with him. So I wanted to kind of talk about how this kind of big party he had sort of affected him and his social batteries. So his birthday was on a Friday. So he is in school now, Monday through Friday. So on Friday, we, bought a bunch of cupcakes, and we sent him to school with him for his class. So, his teacher sent us pictures and video, they sang to him. He got a little happy birthday crown, and, everybody got to have cupcakes, and it looks like they did a good job, celebrating the birthday. Another kid in his class had a birthday just a couple days before, and they kind of put their picture on the door and they celebrate them. So it looks like, they definitely make sure to recognize each kid, and it's definitely a big part of the day. So he had that at school. So he comes home from school, and then later that evening, maybe, 5 or 6 or so hours later, we had some house guests come in from out of town. So I think there were 4 of them. It was 2 adults and 2 kids, much older than him. They're more like 11, 12, that came to stay with us, family, of course. So, we're all hanging out and playing and cooking dinner and just kind of having a good time in the evening. So, my son, Camden, he'd been at school all week. They sang him happy birthday during the day. Of course, they come over and they brought presents for him, and after dinner they wanted him to open his present. So we're trying to do, celebrate him a little bit the day of, even though his big party is the next day on Saturday. So, he did okay. He opened up his presents. He kind of, hung out. But again, he's met all of them except for one of the other kids several times before. We got on vacation together. So, he was very close with most of his family that was here. So then, on that night, we were all up pretty late, working on stuff for the party. I made all of his cupcakes from scratch because he has food allergies. We were making some of the food for the party, and we were catering some of it. So, we were up pretty late. Like I said, the house was pretty busy and kind of full of everything pretty late into the evening. So there was that, right? He'd gone to school all week, had a house full of guests. We were all up late. Presents were already happening on Friday, so it was a lot. Then Saturday, we get up, and again, everybody's still there, right? Because they stayed the evening with us, or they stayed the night with us. We start working on getting ready for the party. So we have decorations to do. We had more family come into town earlier in the morning, so they got there maybe between 9 and 10 or so in the morning, and his party wasn't until 2 o'clock that afternoon. So they were here, so now we're up to 6 house guests, including my husband and I. So the house is starting to get a little busy, but we're getting decorations up, so we've got, everything out, boxes and ladders and all sorts of stuff, just trying to decorate. And throughout the morning, my son, he just kind of kept wanting to sit on our bed, and our master bedroom is downstairs, and he just wanted to be by himself. He wanted his tablet. He just wanted to sit there quietly with his show. And grandma was in town. They came down the morning of, and they kept asking, where's Camden? What's he doing? Where is he? And I was like, oh, he's in our room. I think he just needs some quiet time. They sang to him at school yesterday, and we were up kind of late last night. So I think he's feeling a little overwhelmed. And this is kind of unusual for him. He's a very outgoing kid. He is, of course, the firstborn, so he's not really used to being around a whole bunch of other kids, but still, he's normally a pretty energetic and outgoing kid. So this was kind of unusual for him to just kind of want to sit by himself in a room away from everybody else. He did throughout the morning kind of keep calling for Dad and I to come be with him, and he just wanted us to literally just sit with him on the bed and watch the tablet, with him for a little bit, which I did do a couple times. When I had to go feed the baby, I just excused myself to our bedroom, and I, sat with the baby and sat with him on our bed, and just kind of some quiet time, just the 3 of us, and that seemed to kind of help recharge him a little bit. So he did come out a little bit later on, and they started to kind of play with everybody, play with the decorations, but it was really kind of interesting, to think about a 3-year-old being overwhelmed by their own birthday party. So, like I said, I think we talk a lot about how, especially couples, there's usually one really outgoing person and one kind of introverted person, and they almost always marry each other, of course. And then, it's like one person kind of like drags the other one to these like big social events, and it's usually very stressful, right, on the person that would much rather kind of be at home and be a homebody. So it was interesting to see this kind of come out in my 3-year-old. And I'm not saying he's introverted or anything. I don't think we really know yet. He's only 3. But it was kind of unusual to see this in him because, like I said, we hadn't really seen it before. So we had this party. We did have about 40 people or so here. There really weren't a whole bunch of kids. We did have a lot of family friends and a lot of people that have known him since since he was born. A lot of the kids that were there are older than him too. Again, like he's known them pretty much his whole life, but they were older, so they kind of, did their own thing, and and he's still stuck with us a lot too, and obviously we're trying to keep an eye on him with that many people around. We all sang to him, and he seemed to do really good with that. He didn't really get shy or anything when it was time to sing him happy birthday, so he seemed to enjoy that. He had his cupcake. Everything was good. And then, people kind of started leaving, and the group got really small, a few hours, after the party started. So we had a whole bunch of people there, and then kind of dwindled down to like our kind of core group of friends that we see all the time. And they stayed for a couple hours more, and then, everybody left. So it was just the 4 of us at home. Our house guests left, they went back home, and it was just us. We're like, all right, buddy, like, do you want to open all your presents? Because we haven't in the past opened them at the party. Partly because in past years he hasn't really been old enough to really understand the presents concepts. It was kind of tedious trying to teach him how to open presents in front of everybody when they're all like anticipating his reaction. So we're like, we'll just do it in private. I think it's better that way. So, we tried to get him to open some. Like, I think we opened like one of the ones we got for him, but he really wasn't interested. Like, he had this pretty good sized pile of presents, from the party, and he knew they were there, but he wasn't super interested. Like, he kind of played with the tissue paper in some of the bags and really wasn't like going crazy to rip into the presents. We're like, okay, that's totally fine. Well, over the next week, he literally opened one present a day. Like, we didn't push it. We didn't like, come on, buddy, you got to open all your presents. Like, we just kind of let him do it. And in the evening when he got home from school each day, he would like go into the dining room where all the presents were, and he would just bring one into the living room. And we're like, do you want to open that one? And he was like, yes. So it was kind of really cute to see him just kind of like reset and pace himself. And he was like, today I'm ready for a present. And I think it was about one a day or so, and it took him probably 8 or 9 days to like get through everything and open all of them. So, the last couple days over the, a weekend or so after his party, we're like, all right, let's just open the rest of them. We wanted to make sure to text everybody thank yous and all that good stuff too. So, that was really interesting too, because it's like he knew what those presents were, but he really wasn't, like, he didn't feel, he didn't feel like he needed to open them all right away. And I am so glad that we didn't have everybody kind of sit around him in this big old circle, this big giant group of people, and try and get him to open everything in front of him, because I feel like he probably really would have shut down. So just letting him open his presents at his own pace and at his own leisure was really great. Then he got to play with each one before he moved on to the next one. It was really good. So, we also went to another birthday party of one of our friends who's, right about his age. Their birthdays are only a week apart, and he was pretty outgoing at that party. So I think by that point he kind of gotten through everything, and he was, he was kind of used to like the bigger, louder kind of party scene again. Obviously this one wasn't for him, but it was with a lot of the same people that were at his party too. So he kind of saw them 2 weekends in a row too. So yeah, I don't know. I thought it was interesting, for a kid that was home with me for the first 2.5 years of his life, just me and various nannies kind of in and out. He went to school then part-time last semester for 7 hours a week, and now he's up to 5 days a week, for him to just kind of really be overwhelmed and need a bit of a reset from his whole birthday week. So like I said, I think the singing and everything at school, to then people in the house at night, to then the big party the next day, it was a lot. And I gotta say, it was a lot for me too. I definitely love throwing parties for the kids and having all of our friends and family over, but it's a lot of work and a lot goes into it. And there is something to be said for, you know, in the evenings, once everybody's gone, just kind of just taking a break and just, you know, sitting back and being like, that was a great, you know, that was a great get together, that was a great party, and I'm really glad I got to see everybody. And it's okay then to just kind of want to be back in your space and kind of with your family too. So especially with the new baby, you know, it's nice for me to just to kind of be able to feed him and be with him as I need to. Also, so, you know, that's kind of an extra thing that obviously just this year will be an issue. You know, won't be a newborn by next summer, but yeah, so I don't know if anybody else has really experienced this, or if there's certain ages where your kids kind of do this ebb and flow of, you know, my kid loves all the attention, but then the following year they were a little bit more weary of it, and then they kind of came back out of their shell again. I'm not sure, so I'd love to hear in the comments if you've kind of seen this in your kids, or maybe some of your friends, their kids experience this maybe more than others. But yeah, so it was interesting, and definitely something I'm going to keep in mind, you know, in the future, that when we have these big family get-togethers, whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas or birthdays, just to know that there may come pockets of the day where the kids just need to be by themselves, and they just need to be left alone and to recharge their batteries and just do their own thing, and they'll come out and they'll be with everybody when they want to be. And I think there's something to be said for not forcing the issue and just kind of letting them, like I said, come out when they feel ready. So yeah, let me know if you've been through this too, or if you're currently going through this. And so yeah, so we'll see if this happens again, you know, maybe around the holiday season. So please subscribe to the channel and for any future videos, and make sure to grab my email newsletter down below, and I'll see you next time.